What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 12th Man FC. My name is Edwin Rosales Martinez. Manchester City 3, Leeds United 2. It is a win that puts Manchester City in second place ahead of Arsenal going away to Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea, who are sitting in third place, just a few points behind City. If Chelsea could get the win, they will go back into second place, and that would stop Arsenal from dominating in the season so far this season. But City getting the 3 points today, like I said, that was a crucial must-win match that we needed to show up for. And I would be absolutely lying if I said that this win makes me feel very confident in City's ability to stay in a title race this season and potentially win the league. This was a win that was very disappointing, a very worrisome win, a win that I don't really feel too great about. I'm sure a lot of City supporters could also share that sentiment and everything. Don't get me wrong, I am very, very happy that City got the 3 points today. It was a much needed 3 points. However, with that happiness there is frustration and worry just sprinkled on top. You know what I mean? Because it's the same things that we have been seeing from a city side, all of this season and all of last season as well, where it's just we look beatable. We look like we can't, grip games by the scruff of the neck and just put them away and just be purely dominant of what we've been used to seeing from a Pep Guardiola City side for the past 9 years now and everything. So yeah, it was a tough watch. It was a tale of two halves, a game of two halves, with that second half being so disappointing to watch, being a horror of a watch. City just absolutely crumbled in the second half and looked shades different from what they did in the first half. The first half being very, very dominant, which is where City got their first 2 goals of the game. City scored early on within the opening minute of the match via a Phil Foden goal, and then we let go of a 2-0 lead in the second half, and then we had to rely on Phil Foden for a injury time winning goal. So yeah, it was definitely shocking, and I don't know what the solution is, to be honest, because it's all right. So the thing with me, yeah, is that I'm definitely not the type of fan that, like, I care about the performance. Like, obviously I want my team to win, right? But I care if that win was an unconvincing win. I care. I want it to be convincing. I want pure dominance, right? And it's one thing if, this is the City that we're used to seeing under Pep Guardiola, where they're completely dominant. They're going on 12, 13, 14 game winning streaks to win the league and stuff like that. And then, yeah, you throw in like 2-3 performances in there that are really, really tough, and it's like, wow, we really have to grind out a result there. That's completely fine. That's normal. But the fact is that this is now, for a little over a year now, this is what we're used to seeing from the City side, is that we look beatable. Like I said earlier, like, this is a pattern. We have the lapse in concentration, the lapse in focus and everything, and we just crumble. It just takes the opposition. The opposition can figure us out very quickly. We've seen that last season, and we're seeing it this season. All the opposition has to do is commit somebody forward into the first phase of City trying to play out from the back and everything, and we kind of fold under the pressure. We've been struggling to play out of the back all season long, and that was very, very evident in the Newcastle game where we lost. I guess the best example from that was in the first half when Anthony Gordon missed the tap in or whatever. City were trying to play out from the back in that. And it was the same thing again today against Leeds. Like, they just have to throw some bodies forward and press and we just can't seem to play out of the back all that confidently, and that's not something that I'm used to seeing, and I don't like it. But like I said, it's been a pattern. It's been a pattern that has been the case for over a year now. So I don't like that. You know what I mean? It'd be completely different if, we're completely dominant and everything, and we look like we're serious title contenders and that we're unbeatable and stuff like that. And then every now and then, you get the team that actually, gives it to, or not gives it to us, but comes out to try to get a result and stuff, and makes it very difficult, and we have to scrap for a win. That's completely different. That's fine. But the fact that we're constantly looking like we're struggling, and that we're beatable, and that any team could come, and if they try to actually play expansive and try to take the game to us, then they actually have a shot. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So we got there at the end, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters, and stuff like that. So we got there at the end via a Phil Foden amazing goal to take the 3-2 win and stuff. It's just, I don't know what the solution is right now, because the errors today, I don't know what happened in the second half where we just switched off and everything, and the intensity wasn't there anymore and stuff. And those mistakes, Leeds United's 2 goals were horrendous mistakes via Mateus Nunes and Josko Guardiola. I know Mateus Nunes, I don't even know where to begin with that one. He kind of like wins the ball right on the edge of the area, and he tries to play out, tries to take it out wide a bit, and then play out from the back, playing a ball right into the midfield, given away instantly. And then once Dominic Calvert-Lewin takes a touch into the box, it's a horrible touch as well. Then Mateus Nunes tries to come across to kind of like play out himself rather than like clearing it immediately, and he takes a horrible touch, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin just pounces onto that to slot it into the net. I don't know, and look, this isn't, because Mateus Nunes has been great this season at right back. Yes, he has a lot of mistakes in him, but I feel like before today, it's been a really long time since we've seen him make a vital mistake that leads to a big chance from the opposition, or the opposition scoring a goal from it. The most recent one I could think is probably in the Brighton game, and that was like the second match of the season, third match of the season, or whatever. So yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a Mateus Nunes like huge error and stuff like that. So he's been solid, but it's just that lapse of judgment and focus. Like I said, as soon as he won the ball in the edge of the area, he should have just trusted Donnarumma and played it to him, and kind of opened himself up to receive the ball out wide and everything like that. And then when that didn't happen, instead of trying to take a touch across Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the box, he should have just cleared it right away. And then Josko Guardiola, man, he's way better than that with that error that he did, conceding the penalty. It was a horrendous decision to try to go for a slide tackle there, and he just completely mistimes it. The judgment was very poor there, and yeah, it's just, I don't know what to say about these things. Like, you can't really coach these things. These are just like kind of like game IQ type of situations, and it's ultimately a lack of just lapse of focus and judgment and stuff like that, because you can't deny the quality of these players. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, we're just not really like meshing as a group right now, and that's completely, I was expecting this. I said in my predictions before the season started that I don't think that City are going to be anywhere near a title race this season because of how different this squad is. There's a lot of players that came into this side that haven't played together before. You know what I mean? Like, we got rid of a lot of players, we brought in a lot of new players and stuff. So this is a bit of a rebuild for Pep Guardiola. So I wasn't expecting a title race from City this season. I was expecting maybe a third place or fourth place finish, with it being a very, very tight 2-horse race. And I actually predicted Chelsea to be in that 2-horse race, but against Liverpool. It's against Arsenal in reality, but whatever. Yeah. But I said a month ago, the fact that if we could just stay within touch and distance of Arsenal, you never know what could happen. No, I don't think that City will ultimately go on to win the league. I do think that Arsenal will win the league, but if we're in touching distance, you don't know what can happen because there's still a lot of City players in this side that have been in this position before, that have been in worse circumstances, in chasing the title and have come out on top by the end of the season. So that experience and that mentality and that hunger is there from a lot of those players and stuff like that. So because of that, I feel like if we could stay within touching distance of first place, it's really anyone's game and everything. But yeah, poor performance ultimately. That was definitely, I feel like, or at least in that second half. If we want to just take it down to a single half, that was probably one of Pep Guardiola's worst halves of football that I have ever seen in my lifetime since I've been watching football. So yeah, it's a tough take, and I don't really know what the solution is or anything like that. I think the best that we could just do is kind of just like take it on the chin and try to learn from it and everything. Well, the players at least. And now balls in Chelsea and Arsenal's court. I would very, very much want and need Chelsea to get the 3 points. Even though that's going to put Chelsea ahead of us, I don't really care. It's just more the fact that Arsenal, if we could just slow Arsenal down, you know what I mean? If they could just stay on the 29 points by the end of this weekend and everything, Chelsea's within 3 points from them if they get the win tomorrow. And then that still gives City a chance to catch up because we are playing catch up at the moment and everything. So yeah, look, tough watch today. It was definitely a win that leaves you kind of like frustrated and a little bit confused and a bit worried and stuff. I'm definitely feeling that, but look, we got the 3 points, and that's ultimately what we need. As long as we could just keep up. I do have confidence in Pep Guardiola to eventually come good with this side. Whether that is making some changes during the January window and offloading some players and bringing in a couple reinforcements in the areas that we're lacking, like a goal scoring winger would be nice, a proper right back as well, maybe somebody as like an attacking mid that could also offer some goal threat and everything. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, balls in Arsenal and Chelsea's court tomorrow. I will be back with a match reaction at the end of that one. So, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.